With the 2016 presidential election just around the corner, many are torn between the two frontrunners. Many anticipate the coming election to be very, very close, but you can't exactly say the same for some of the other big elections in history. With tension so high this year, it's hard to believe that the United States has ever been in agreement about anything. But you'd be surprised. In today's It's All Viral video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 blowouts in presidential elections. Number 5. Richard Nixon in 1972. Starting off our list, we have President Richard Nixon, who beat out George McGovern with 96% of the electoral vote and carrying 49 states. While many probably don't remember Nixon for this blowout, and probably only remember him more for the Watergate scandal, there's simply no denying that the election of 1972 was nothing short of a blowout. Number 4. Ronald Reagan in 1984. Now, the most recent event on our list, at number 4 we have the election of 1984, Reagan versus Mondale. Now, while Mondale may have taken 40% of the popular vote, Reagan dominated the electoral vote, taking in 97.5% of it and carrying 49 states. The 525 electoral votes that Reagan received also marks the highest amount ever awarded to a presidential candidate. Reagan definitely made quite the impression in his first term to get the country so united to bring him back for round 2. Number 3. Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1936. Now, coming in at number 3 is good old FDR. That was a rough time for America, and FDR had won the previous election in 1932, beating out President Hoover as well as blaming him for much of the Great Depression. Turns out that was an impressive political tactic that would see a lot of use in the years to come. FDR made it his mission to beat the Depression, and he certainly made quite the impression in his first term, because when he ran for re-election against Alf Landon in 1936, not only did he win 60% of the popular vote, the second highest in history by the way, but he also won 98.4% of the electoral vote and carried 46 states. Also, thanks to the lack of a 22nd Amendment, FDR managed to hold presidency for a third term after the election of 1940. Although his numbers were not nearly as impressive that time, as many weren't too happy with him maintaining power for so long, and the 2-term rule was written into the Constitution after Roosevelt left office. Number 2. James Monroe. The second greatest blowout in the history of the United States happened in 1820, in which the Democratic Republican from Virginia, James Monroe, brought in 80% of the popular vote and 99.5% of the electoral vote. Now, why was it such a blowout? Well, blowouts seem to happen when you run virtually unopposed. The election of 1820 was the last time in America's history that a candidate ran with little to no opposition. This was also Monroe's second term as president, which likely gave the incumbent a leg up in his second election. And finally, in our number 1 spot, George Washington in 1789 and again in 1792. Oh man, nothing says blowout like a big, fat 100%. Well, how about 2 100%? That's right, it seems only fitting that George Washington, the first president of the United States, won his presidency with 100% of the electoral vote. Not just once, but for both of his terms. Now, while these elections did take place in the very early days of the country, and before the 12th Amendment solidified the procedure for electing its leaders, I think it's safe to say that it'd be nice if the country could find someone today we could all agree on to this degree. But alright guys, there we go. That's it for our list of the top 5 presidential blowouts in American history. Got any other great political stories? Be sure to let us know down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe for more great content. But alright, it's going to be it for this one guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you all in the next one.